Clock will call the meeting to order. The first item on the agenda is the approval of the July 7th, 2020 agenda. If there are any changes or not, we'll entertain a motion accordingly.
So moved.
Second, Schoenberg motion to approve the agenda.
Okay, second?
I'll second it.
All right.
Flame.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Okay. All right. Moving on to the approval of the minutes of the regular meeting on June 2nd, 2020. If there are no changes or corrections, we'll again entertain a motion for their approval.
I'll make,
So moved.
Second.
Like to go. Okay, who moved?
Sue Flynn.
Oh, okay. All in favor, say aye.
aye.
Aye. Okay, it's passed. Now we come to the financial report for May of 2020.
This is Anderson with staff. So this puts us at the end of May, which should put us at 91.6% through the year. Going down through the revenue side first, we're at about 51% total of all the revenues in there. The main gap that we had was we did not, I hate to jump to the end, we're already past our fiscal year, so moving ahead to June, but at this point we are still short. But we had one property sale that we were trying to get in there, but because of the reconstruction of the 11th Street Bridge, we have stalled that for now to make sure we get all the design features that we want on the 11th Street Bridge, so we won't sell that. It's at the corner of Blackhawk and 11th. So we will be short on revenue as the end of the year. As of this report, in terms of expenses, we're at 83% for salaries and benefits, 63% for contractual services. So we're flying about probably about 70,000 to 80,000 shorter than what we were expected to be for expenses for the year. So that's good news as well. But like I said, we'll be short of expenses, which is great news. We'll be short of revenue, which is not because of that property sale. But that's the financial report.
Okay, do we have a motion to accept?
So moved. Do not.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, moving on to the next item, oral presentations. This is when anybody who wants to speak on an item that is not on the agenda has the opportunity to speak now. Please, if you're on here, give us your name and address and bring up what you want to bring up. Okay, hearing nobody, we'll go on to the new business. First item is a hearing. Found it. Time is now 4:03 p.m. and a hearing is scheduled at this time on a request by Greg Steffen to rezone 8.80 acres from A1 Agricultural District to R2 1 and 2 Family Residence District for a new single-family home located at 4192 Logan Avenue. At this time, we should receive and place on file a statement of verification signed by Patty McGee saying, I, Patty McGee, do hereby certify that a copy of the attached letter, overview, aerial, and notice maps were mailed to each individual on the attached list by regular mail on June 19th, 2020. Could we have a motion to receive and place this on file?
So moved. Do not. Second.
Wanted to go.
Okay, never mind.
Okay, all in favor? If there's no further discussion.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay. Hearing is now open.
This is Dornoff with staff.
Staff, yeah, thank you.
The proposal would not appear to have a negative impact on surrounding area. The area is currently made up of a storage business, residences, and agricultural. The request would not appear to have a negative impact on vehicular pedestrian traffic movements in the area. as the home is served by Logan Avenue, US Highway 63, which was classified as a principal arterial. There is currently no sidewalks or trails in the area. There is long-term plans for a trail along US 63 Logan Avenue, but has not been currently budgeted. The area is zoned A1 agricultural district and has been zoned as such since the adoption of the zoning ordinance in 1969. Surrounding land uses and their zoning as follows. To the north, residential and agricultural, zoned A1 agricultural district and R2 1 and 2 family residence district. To the south, residential and commercial, zoned A1 agricultural district and C2 commercial district. To the east is agricultural, zoned A1 agricultural district. And to the west is Logan Avenue, residential and agricultural, zoned A1 agricultural district. Homes in the area were built between 1879 and 1977, and the commercial properties were built in 2006. There's no utilities in the area. Nearest utilities are located in Big Rock Road. A new house would have to utilize a well and septic system, but they would be required to hook up the sewer and water if they became available in the future. The future land use map designates this area as agricultural residential potential. The applicant is requesting to rezone their land from A1 agricultural district to R2 1 and 2 family residence district for one single-family home. The applicant is looking to build a new single-family home east and behind the existing home at 4192 Logan Avenue. There are homes located to the north that are zoned R2 1 and 2 family residence district and commercial property to the south zoned C2 commercial district. The new home is being platted off and will require an easement agreement to allow access to the lot. There is not currently served by utilities, therefore a septic system and well will be required. However, if utilities are extended any time to the area in the future, the home should be hooked up to those utilities. Therefore, staff recommends that the request by Greg Steffen to rezone 8.80 acres from A1 agricultural district to R2 1 and 2 family residence district for one new single family home located at 4192 Logan Avenue be approved for the following reasons. The request will not appear to have a negative impact on traffic conditions in the area. The request would not appear to have a negative impact on the surrounding area, with the conditions being met below. And homes in the north are zoned R2 1 2 family residence district, and zoning to the south is C2 commercial district. And with the following conditions, that the homes be hooked up to sewer or water if and when they ever become extended to the area. And just a note, we have received 4 phone calls on the application. One of them was not opposed, as he was okay with just one single family home, and then 3 others were opposed due to traffic conditions, and one's worried about the well conditions in the area. That's the staff report.
Hey, is there anybody here that wants to speak either for or against this issue? Please give us your name and address, and I'll try and recognize you.
Mr. Chair, do we have commissioner questions first?
No.
No. Well, we can, I guess. Okay.
We do have Mr. Steffen in the audience.
Questions of staff. I apologize.
Okay.
Yes. Questions of staff first.
So this is Commissioner Dunat. Have the items that John Dornoff was just talking about at the end of his presentation, have they been addressed about the concerns from the neighbors, the 3 concerns that were opposed to it due to traffic and the wells and things? Have those things been addressed at all?
Well, the call about the well water only came in about an hour or 2 ago. And traffic conditions in the area, it's only one single family home on a major arterial road.
Okay.
I have a question, Ms. Holdeman. Does the guy that wants to build this house, does he also own the one in front of it that's along Logan Avenue?
Yes, he does own it, and he is here in the audience to talk when we're done.
Okay. All right. That's all I needed. Thank you.
And this is Trost. Part of the requirement, staff, is that if it is rezoned and property is developed, they require to hook up the city water and sewer, correct?
No, they would be on wells,
Okay,
unless sewers and water is extended out there, which at this time,
okay.
due to cost, is probably not going to happen.
Oh, yep, I missed that, thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions?
This is Schoberg. What was the concern about the well? Was it affecting the wells that are existing right now?
He was concerned that additional wells will cause the water table to go down.
Okay.
Well, is he concerned that, this is Holdeman, are they concerned that there'll be more homes in that 8.8 acres?
Yes, they were concerned that there would be multiple homes built on the lot, which we told them that this was for one single family home.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
This is Flynn. So the builder is aware that they cannot do multiple residences on this land, correct?
Yeah, he's here. Like I said, he'll answer that question for you.
Thank you.
Any others?
Yes, this is Gerald Stevens. Is in regards to the single family, is there assurance that that's from now to eternity, that's all it will ever be?
Who's asking?
Gerald Stevens?
Right now, we're just talking with commissioners. Are you one of the neighbors?
Right?
Okay, you'll get your chance to ask a question after the property owner
Okay.
has made his
Okay.
presentation. Okay?
Okay.
But thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, anybody else in the commission have any other questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, if the applicant is here and would like to address us, please come to the podium and give us your name and address. Any comments you would like?
Good afternoon. My name is Greg Steffen. I own the property and a resident at the 4192 Logan Avenue, which was the prior Ranchero Saddle Club or Saddle Shop before I purchased the property. So I'd like to address a couple of concerns. The staff had pointed out when it refers to the traffic involved on this property, I am asking for only one property to go on the 6.4 acres behind the kind of a T-shaped property behind the existing buildings, house, and what was the shop that I just have as a storage building now. So regarding the traffic, it used to be a retail shop for 45 years and had traffic in and out of there 12 hours a day during the day. So being a private residence and going with one additional property, I don't see how that can be a concern on a major arterial such as Highway 63.
Mr. Steffen?
Yes.
Excuse me a minute. Somebody on the electronic board has a television or radio or something on in the background that's causing a problem hearing you. So please turn it off or mute yourself.
Perfect. Thank you, Craig.
There we go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Keep going.
Okay, thank you. So that's addressing the traffic question. I'm asking for one property, which is probably going to consist of about 2.2 acres around that particular property. There's a total of 8.8 acres there. In the back, there is 6.4 acres. So as far as one additional well, I don't foresee that that is a problem either, as far as lowering a water table by one well. So I respectfully submit that that is what I'm trying to do. I am thoroughly aware that I'm asking for one property and one property only. The condition to hook up in the future to water and sewer if extended. First, I welcome that it gets extended. I don't foresee that happening because it's going to be extremely expensive to bring that out. But if it does, I'll probably be the first one in line to hook up. Yeah. So, thank you very much for having me.
Any questions for the applicant?
This is Jackson. When the new house is built, is the existing house going to remain, or is that going to be torn down?
The existing house is remaining, and I am the occupant of that house.
I'm sorry, what was the last one?
And yes, the house is staying, and I am planning on staying there and living there in the existing house.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yes.
Any other questions?
This is Schoberg. There is a note under the staff analysis that says the applicant is planning to subdivide the property. It doesn't sound like that's the case, though.
This is starting off with staff. The lot that he's planning to build on will be subdivided from the existing house. So, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's a little confusing there, so.
It needs to be, as far as a potential, having an abstract, that 2.2 acres that's directly behind the existing house and the shop, the building that's there, if potentially sold to someone else, has got to be described as a separate piece of property. It has already been surveyed. The stakes are there. I purchased a survey that did the entire boundary, as well as finding the corners of that particular, what I'm going to call a lot of 2.2 acres. So it's only practical that, yes, it would have to be done. Yeah.
You're muted? Or what?
Craig, are you muted?
Like he can hear you?
Craig? Craig, you're muted.
It's not shown as muted, but.
Oh. Actually, we can't hear Steve either. Hang on one second, we can't hear anyone.
Can they still hear us?
How about anyone on the phone?
Sue, can you hear us? I didn't touch anything. Go back and watch the tape.
Welcome to Zoom. Enter your meeting ID.
That's why I decided to show up in person.
Enter your participant ID. Please enter the meeting password. You are in the meeting now. There are 17 participants In the meeting, this meeting is being recorded.
For some reason, City Hall can't hear us, or we can't hear them.
We got
We're
you.
back now.
Are you?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, we missed some
Okay.
stuff.
All right, Mr. Steffen, it looked like you were trying to present some other ideas and we were unable to hear you. You want to do it over again, or?
What was the last thing you guys heard?
That he was gonna stay in the house himself,
Yeah,
Okay.
the
he
original
was
house.
going to stay in the original house.
He's going to stay in the original house, and then he does plan to sell the back portion for a new house, and that would be subdivided off. 2.2 acres.
Okay.
As a
Okay.
single parcel, as another single parcel, correct? Just for that one house?
Correct.
Okay.
So then he's going to have 6 acres, roughly 6.5 acres there that will be left over for him and his whatever, huh?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else have a question of the applicant? All right, sir, thank you. Now,
Thank you.
and I apologize it's taken so long to get to this point, but now we come to the time when anybody in the audience that would like to make a presentation to the commission, either for or against this issue, we'll do it one at a time, and please give us your name and address and state your comments, please. We'll start off. I think there was a lady that wanted to talk first, and I apologize. I don't remember your name, but
Oh, okay, Gerald Stevens,
that's it. Thank you.
1451 Logan Avenue.
Okay.
And my concerns are basically that, number one, in regards to traffic, the amount of traffic that the saddle shop had was so random. I mean, you're not talking about high-V type traffic. You know, and yes, they were open early till late, but a car here and there. But these were all people who had shopped at that store forever and understood the traffic patterns and how just before you get there, the traffic starts picking up in speed much greater than it should, because we've had multiple accidents over the years out there because of people that didn't know. And you have that rise coming from the north that people come quickly over, and somebody is trying to turn and they get slammed out there. So yeah, additional traffic is a concern to me. The other concern I have is the aquifer. Adding who knows how many people, even if it's a single family, you're talking about what I've heard, a multi-hundred thousands of dollars home could be 6, 10, 12, who knows how many people. What's that going to draw from the aquifer? You know, it's been dropping, you know, over the years anyway. That added stress is another concern of mine. And frankly, we moved out here 25 years ago because we didn't want to live in a congested city area. We liked that everybody had, you know, just an acreage, and it stayed that way from day one to now. So I'd just like to say I'm opposed to this.
Okay. Any questions by the commission?
Hi, this is Jackson. I'm curious what the basis was for the estimate of 10, 11, 12 occupants in that single family house.
Well, my estimate was based on what I've heard, the value of the home. You could be talking about a 5 or 6 bedroom home. You know,
So,
How many people can you house in that? In the paperwork says 1 or 2 family residences. So is that going to be condos? Is that going to be, what?
is the applicant still present? Do they want to address that? And because to me, it sounds like that's a guess. And so a decision may be made without factual information.
Well, that's true. But I mean, it could go in any direction. I do have, the other concern is that this is all being talked about now, but in the future, when there are different folks in your position, what's going to, at least it's already residential, what's going to stop them from saying, yeah, go ahead and build 10 houses back there?
This is Trost. Maybe staff can clarify that right now, my understanding is it will be subdivided and that has to come back in front of zoning or city council or what have you, or it has to be platted eventually to be 2 separate lots. And if they were to go and try to make that back area multiple lots or a different function other than the single residence, what has to happen? Maybe you can explain that for the caller.
Sure, this is Anderson with staff. So this would be the first split of the property, so they would not be required to come to the planning commission for a subdivision. They could do a plat of survey split, but any further splits of the land would require it come back to the planning commission for the subdivision approval.
Could I chime in as well? This is Commissioner Leipzico. I'm looking at page 55 of our comprehensive plan, and it shows that this portion of land is slated for future use of agricultural or residential potential. So this fits within it.
You mean it can go back to agriculture?
That would be unlikely.
Well, I would say so too.
I mean, even with the rezoning of the land, they could continue to farm the other part that's not developed for the house.
Okay. But my concern is that when you kind folks are not the representatives of this committee in the future, is there anything that assures us that the next group or 2 groups or 3 groups later will not say, yes, go ahead, you've already got it residential, go ahead and divide it into multiple lots?
Again, this is Anderson with staff, so again, that subdivision would have to come back through the commission. If the commission is concerned about multiple houses going up out there too fast, you could add the condition in the zoning action saying that this is for 1 house and that any further houses would have to come back through the site plan amendment process or the rezoning process to amend that condition.
Well, I would certainly like to see that, but my point is simply that there's no guarantee to any of us out here that future commissions will not approve more.
This is Flynn, and I would beg to differ because we go by guidelines that we are provided, that are city code and city policies on making our decisions. And so those would still have to be followed in the future. It's not just if it's 7 different people and they have a different opinion. Those codes and policies and regulations are followed by every commission that, is appointed to this planning and zoning area. So it would not be just because they thought it would be okay to do that. They do still need to follow all of the regulations and plans that are put in place by the city ordinances.
So those conditions would be listed when this is changed so that future people like me will know that this is how it's going to be addressed.
It'll always have to go back through a public process of some type to change any of the conditions or modify.
This is Schrader with staff, and without public sewer and water, it's going to be extremely unlikely that additional development would be allowed. But if public sewer and water were to be extended to the area, then it makes it much more likely that additional development could occur, and it wouldn't make sense to then restrict that to not allow it.
Because the health department's going to have some regulations on the size of lot needed for septic and well.
Staff, correct me if I'm wrong, this is Commissioner Surfling, but the landowners around there would be notified if there's any changes that would come before our commission, right?
The landowners, we would generally send out a courtesy letter for the subdivision, if that were to come back. If we do not put a condition on the zoning, there would be no requirement to notify them again. If, let's say Mr. Steffen had someone else come out and say, I want to build a second house, and we approve it as it is today, that would come through the subdivision process, but it would not come through rezoning.
So this neighbor would not be notified officially too?
They would be notified as a courtesy for the subdivision portion, but not for the rezoning, because there wouldn't be a rezoning.
Okay.
Now, if we put a condition on there that says only this one house, and Mr. Steffen would have to agree to that, then if a second one came in, he would still have the right and the ability to come in and say, okay, now I want to amend that to build a second house out there. Then that would come back through this same process.
And then the neighbors would be notified and all this is Trost?
That is correct.
That's what I was asking, yeah. To reassure her that she'd know what was going on and have an opportunity to express her opinions. Mm-hmm.
This is Trost. Is that proposed idea of limiting it to one house at a time an acceptable possibility for the applicant, or they wanted to think about that?
He says he is agreeable to that.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, if there is a way that we can be assured that there's only one from now until the end of time, then okay, but I still believe that one home the size of what I've heard, and it's just hearsay, but you know, you're still talking about a major draw on the aquifer.
This is Flynn, and I guess I have a question for staff. Who would have to do a study on that to see if there is additional? I mean, I know that would not be city water, obviously it's wells, but who would do counts on that to see how the status of that would react to additional buildings?
This is Anderson with staff, and Eric may get up and correct me, but I believe the Blackhawk County Health Department conducts all of that as part of their approval process for a well. And Eric is nodding that I was right. Everyone should mark that down, by the way.
Yeah, thank you.
So will that be done before all this is said and over?
Mr. Steffen or the new builder could definitely contact the health department at any time during this process. I believe that the health department will want to see some specific details of exactly where the well will be and all that. So that may be further down the line after the rezoning, because then they're going to be spending money on contractors and things like that, drawing up plans for the exact location. But it would still have to be done before construction.
But, I mean, that just seems a little backwards to me. If, in fact, you're in the middle of construction and you're that far into it financially, and suddenly you're told that the well is not going to be approved and there is no city water, I don't see that ever happening that way.
I would imagine. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, this is Holdeman. Unless I misunderstood, he would have to get the county's okay for a well prior to building the house.
That is
Right,
correct.
but y'all were told that he would be in the middle of paying folks to plan, his construction and figure out where the well can go and all that. That's a lot of money into it by the time they decide whether he can have the well or not, isn't it?
Well, and I guess that's his privilege to do that, or that's what he's gonna have to do anyway in order to get, the permit to build or to put the well in.
This is Trost. It's his risk if he proceeds and doesn't have his water source lined up ahead of time. So it's in his best interest to do so. And if he doesn't, it's at the owner's risk. In the Bucks County.
This is Flynn, sorry. But if you have concerns, I would contact Blackhawk County Health now and ask, what the usage of that well is and the capacity, and if you're close to it, and maybe they can check into that for you. I don't know how that works, but that is out of our realm as far as the well capacity in that area.
Thank you, I'll do it. I appreciate your suggestion.
Okay. Any other, did you have any other comments or concerns or?
Oh, that'll do for now.
Okay, thank you so much. And we had someone else that was interested in speaking. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. My name is Mike Barrett. I live at 4246 Logan Avenue, just north of Greg's property. My first concern is the traffic. I know it's already been beat up a little bit, but you folks need to understand that 4 years ago, Waterloo Postal Service decided that highway is too dangerous to be stopping on, so they pulled all the mailboxes between Donald Street and the highway. I can't think of it right now. Dunkerton Road. But 3 miles of no mail service because of that traffic. People aren't paying attention. They're on the cell phones. The speed limit's 55 miles an hour. They're not paying attention. Somebody decides, oop, I need to turn here. I have helped and been involved with many accidents out in front when the saddle shop was there. People not knowing the address, not paying attention, turn late. They're lost. They turn around, slam on the brakes. This is a big issue. And there has been fewer accidents since the saddle shop closed and Greg bought that place. Now, we're talking about putting possibly two family resident back there. That's what the paperwork says. So it could be a condo. It could be a great big condo. Who knows? My concern is not only for me, but my family and people that come to visit me. I have aborted, actually I'm trying to turn in my driveway and I can't because somebody's behind me not paying attention. So I abort and just drive down the roadways and turn around with it safely. This is a big concern. Also, these driveways, in the wintertime, everybody pushes the driveway snow to the end by the street. And then it piles up, and piles up. Pretty soon, in a heavy snow winter, you can't see what's coming. Not only in my driveway, the one north of me and the one south of me, which is Greg's. I know he hasn't been there for a heavy snowfall yet. He's only been there 2 winters. We really haven't had killer snows yet. We will. And this is also a very big concern of mine, trying to get out of the driveway. I can't see where I'm going because he's got snow piled up there, not only for him, but if I understand this right, the driveway that he owns going back into what was the saddle shop property also feeds this new building in the back. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
This is Pros. I had a quick question for staff. I wanted to make sure that when we talk about putting the caveat in here, that when we're approving this recommendation, if we approve it or raise it for motion, it's for the purposes of a single-family residence on the additional piece of property. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And that the existing residence will remain, but it'll be just one additional residence, and that's the exception that has been suggested at this point.
Is there any size limitation?
to the dwelling?
Yes.
I don't think there is.
What I'm reading here is 1 and 2 family residence. Okay, so that's not 2 buildings, it's 1, which in my language, that's a condo. Okay, I've seen condos as many as 5 bedrooms each with basement and finished basements. You could put how many people in that thing and how many cars. Again, I'm concerned about a house back there or multiple houses and people trying to find that place and can't and screw themselves up on that highway, endangering my life, my kids, everybody that comes to see me, and the neighbors across the street. Another concern is this isn't on the highway. It's back, so you've got to go through Greg's driveway to get to it. Well, if you don't know where you're going, you're messing around that traffic that's going way too fast, and people are not paying attention.
No, this is Commissioner Duna. Now, just to clarify for the audience or the person who was just on the phone asking a question, isn't 1 or 2 family residence part of the planning and zoning type of classification? So it's not necessarily saying it's going to be 2 residences. It could be 1 residence and still have that same classification with planning and zoning.
That is correct. That's the name of the zoning district that's being proposed, is the 1 and 2 family residence district. With the discussion that's gone here, the potential condition to add on to this would be that the rezoning allows only 1 additional single-family house for the approval. Any additional homes would come back for an amendment to this condition. So we would be limiting it to 1 single-family home, which is what Mr. Steffen is indicating is the proposed project.
Well, this is Holdeman, but I don't know what was mailed out to the folks, but our packet says it's requesting to rezone property in order to build 1 additional single-family home.
That is correct.
This is Schrader with staff. That's because the request is to rezone it to R2, 1 and 2 family residence district. That's where they're getting that, because that's the name of the district. It's R2, 1 and 2 family residence district, which can allow 2-unit buildings, duplex, condo, whatever you want to call it. The city of Waterloo does not have a residence district that is limited to only single-family homes. We have an R1 district, but the R1 district also allows 1 and 2 family homes. We debated whether to rezone this to R1 or R2, but there's no R1 area in this vicinity, and there is some existing R2, so that's why we suggested the R2. But there's really effectively minimal difference. They both allow either a single-family home or 2-unit homes. The R2 has a slightly smaller lot size and lot width requirement, but this is going to be an acreage, a 2.2 acre proposed lot. And if we add the condition, as Mr. Anderson suggested, it would limit it to a single-family home only, and any additional homes would have to come back through the approval process before they could be allowed.
All right, thank you.
This is Flynn, and I just had a question for the gentleman and the lady. I'm sorry, I can't recall either name, and I'm not on visual, so I can't see them. But I'm just wondering if you had spoken with Mr. Steffen at all about what the proposed building would look like, or where were you hearing that it was a condo or a facility or a home for 6 to 12 people?
This is Mike Barrett. I'm reading the letter that was sent to me by the city, and it says agriculture A1 zone to R2, 1 and 2 family residence. Well, if you're going to build a house back there, and that's the idea here, get as much real estate for as much money as you can. That's the bottom line. So, and I haven't talked to Greg about it. I didn't realize that this could be a 2-family until I'm reading the letter. That's what's being zoned for. So he certainly could do that. Or is that not correct?
So this is Schrader. As I noted, the city does not have a zoning district that's just a single-family home. It's R1 or R2, both of which are a 1 and 2 family residence district. So yes, that is the title, and yes, that district would allow a 2-unit home, but that's why you're reading that, because that is the name of the district. But he's proposing a single family home, and staff is suggesting a condition to address that concern of the neighbors, that it be limited to a single family home.
Okay, very good, thank you. This is Mike Barrett again. I've got another issue with water quality. I know this is a whole bunch of got the horse behind the cart here, but I've been here 30 years. Last summer, we first moved here, they pulled the well out and the water was at 80 feet when we first moved here 28 years ago. Last summer, because it'd been down there that long, I pulled it out again, put a new pump in there and all new piping, and that water level now I have to go 100 feet to get the water. So the water, I don't know if I'm coming from the aquifer or where I'm getting this water, but it's definitely less than when we first moved here. One thing I don't want to share is my water with this proposed new house. Another issue that I've got here, they're going to have to put a septic tank on there, either 1 or 2 family, whatever it is. The leaching system, I don't know if you guys realize, but there's a creek that runs down and it eventually dumps into Burton Creek, which goes to Cedar River. Right behind the house or on this property, that creek is one of the borders, the eastern border. So as we're leaching the septic, is it ending up in that creek, or is there anybody? What do we do about that?
Wouldn't that be up to the county health department?
This is Schrader with staff. Yes, the health department would have to approve a permit for the septic system. As part of getting that, they would require a perk test be done, and they would require that the septic system itself be properly sized, both the holding tank component of it and the leach field component of it, based on the size of the house and the number of faucet, like bathroom fixtures in the house. That's how they have to size it. And the perk test gives them the information on how well water infiltrates into the ground there, so that they can also use that to base it on the size, so that the health department then ensures that that system would not discharge sewage into an adjacent property, including the creek.
Thank you.
All right, that's fine. I appreciate that. But in this process, where is that? Is that after the footings have been put in the ground and the building is halfway up? When does this process happen?
I think you'd want to get that.
All these things, these questions we have, should be addressed before there's permits to allow this house being built back there.
Well, I would think that would, this is just Holdeman, and this is my opinion, but if it were me building the house, I'd want to make sure I could put in a well and a septic system before I even started digging.
This is Trost. I believe that between the Blackhawk County Health Department with the water and with the septic field, they're going to be reviewing both of those. In addition, the building department's going to require a permit, and they're going to want to know what their source of water and how they're going to treat the septic, and probably going to require that same approval review process from the Blackhawk County Health Department. Am I correct, staff?
This is Schrader with staff. Yeah, you are correct. It is potential and feasible that you could get all of your permits, including from the health department, and be, you're not constructing it until after you've already started construction of the house. But yeah, like Mr. Holdeman said, if you get too far down the road and have a problem with your septic system, you're going to have a significant investment sunk in there. So, but they would not be able to get final occupancy of the structure without both a working well and a working septic system.
This is Mike Barrett again. So all this talk that we're doing and back and forth and all the ifs and ands, what does that do about not letting this be zoned to R2? Or is this a done deal?
This is Anderson with staff. So the process, as outlined in the zoning ordinance and state code, is the planning commission will make a recommendation, and that will go to the city council. The city council will actually have the final vote on yes or no in terms of the rezoning.
I understand.
Okay,
Well, I like Greg as my neighbor. I don't want to cause any hate, discontent, and wars between the neighbors, but I am very much opposed to this.
okay. Appreciate your comments, sir. Thank you. Anyone else?
Sorry, got carried away.
Anyone else that would like to comment either for or against this issue? Okay, hearing no one. Any comments from commissioners, and then we have a motion to close the hearing?
So moved. Motion to close the hearing. Do not.
This is Schrader with staff. 1 second, the applicant would like an opportunity to rebut some of the comments.
Okay,
Hold my motion.
go ahead.
Greg Steffen again, 4192 Logan Avenue. I've agreed to a condition that this be a single-family home. It is going to be an acreage. There is a process, okay? It makes no sense to go out to a health department and ask for a study to be done on a well and spend that money, as well as a study to be done on a septic, without first getting permission from this organization, this council, to rezone, to even have the opportunity to do that, okay? The question that I have to ask this board is, you already have R2 north of me, R2 south of me. Is there any restriction on those properties that if they wanted to change their property to 2 family dwellings, whether they could do that or not? That's my question. Since it's already R2, could they put a condo in place of their house?
This is Anderson with staff. Obviously, they'd have to meet the zoning ordinance requirements for yard area and things like that in the building code for the conversion, but otherwise, yes, they could.
They're acreages. There's lots out there that are acreages with no homes on them, okay? So they could go on, progress on, and build as well. Yes?
That is correct.
Thank you.
Okay, any other comments? All right, now we'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
To close the hearing, so moved.
Okay, second?
Seconded. Commissioner Zerflin.
All right. All in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed, same sign? Carries, thank you. Now, we need discussion amongst the commissioners regarding this. Or a motion.
Commissioner Zerfling, I'll make the motion that the request by Greg Steffen to rezone 8.8 acres from A1 Agriculture District to R2 1 and 2 Family Residence District for a new single-family home located at 4192 Logan Avenue be approved with the understanding that this request does not appear to have a negative impact on traffic conditions in the area, and also does not appear to have a negative impact upon the surrounding area, with the conditions being met below.
You are muted. You can mute or unmute yourself by pressing *6.
Is that us?
Did we lose downtown again?
I think so.
Yeah, it got really quiet all of a sudden.
You are unmuted.
Oh, here, sorry. Go ahead.
I'll go ahead. Homes to the north are zoned R2, and the zoning to the south is C2 Commercial District. with the following condition, that the homes be hooked up to sewer and water if they are extended to the area in the future.
This is Anderson with staff.
Second.
This is Anderson with staff. Then the second condition that we talked about that Mr. Steffen agrees to is that number 2, that the rezoning allows only one additional single-family house for this approval. Any additional homes would come back for an amendment to this condition.
Yes.
This is do not, second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Thank you, that's carried. Moving on to the next item on the agenda. It's a request by CGA Engineers on behalf of Midwest Development for the final plat of Lincolnshire Edition, a 24-lot residential subdivision located northwest of 3520 Amesboro Avenue.
This
So moved, Flynn.
You have a staff report?
Yep, this is Dornoff staff. The request would not appear to have a negative impact on the neighborhood as the area has been designated for homes back when it was first developed in the 1960s, surrounded by single-family and multifamily homes. The request would not appear to have a negative impact on vehicular pedestrian traffic in the area. The area is served by Lincolnshire Road, Monticello Avenue, and Meadow Lanes, which are local streets, and Amesboro Avenue, which is a minor arterial. Currently, there are no sidewalks in the immediate area. However, in new development, sidewalks will be required, which will allow future infill connection to the sidewalk on Amesboro. The proposed site is zoned R1 RP, Plan 1 and 2 Family Residence District. It's zoned as such since being rezoned from R1 1 and 2 Family Residence District by Ordinance 5528 on November 25th, 2019, having been zoned R1 since the adoption of the zoning ordinance in 1969. Surrounding land uses under zoning: to the north, residential, zoned R1, 1 and 2 Family Residence District, and R3, Multiple Residence District. To the south is residential, a church, zoned R1, 1 and 2 Family Residence District, and R3, Multiple Residence District. To the east is church and residential, zoned R1, 1 and 2 Family Residence District, and R3, Multiple Residence District. To the west is residential, zoned R1, 1 and 2 Family Residence District. Homes in the area were built between 1969 and 1975. The church was built in 1974 and expanded in 1997, and multiple family housing was built in 1974 and 1975. The applicant's proposing 24 lots. Lot 1 would have 6,509 square feet. Lots 3, 5, 7, and 9 will have 6,500 square feet of lot area. Lots 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10 will have 6,250 square feet of lot area. Lots 11 through 14, 19, and 20 will have 5,500 square feet. Lots 15 through 18, 21, and 22 will have 4,500 square feet. And lots 23 and 24 will have 5,000 square feet. Lots 11 through 24 were designated to have 1 unit of a 2-unit duplex with a 0 lot line setback between units, which is permitted in the zoning ordinance. The R1 RP allows flexibility and density to allow for new homes to meet market conditions in the area. Tract A is designated as Lincolnshire Road, which is 3,595 square feet. Tract B is designated for stormwater management, is 16,215 square feet. And Tract C is designated for storm drainage, which is 3,092 square feet. Midwest Development is proposing a mixture of single-family, 2-family units for development. The area is being proposed for the final plat was first shown in the preliminary plat of West Ridge Addition in July 1961 as a future addition, but was then sold to the neighboring church and never developed at that time. The area is zoned R1 RP, Plan 1 and 2 Family Residence District. The RP district is...
At Stifel Nicholas, we've established ourselves as one of the nation's leading brokerage and investment banking firms. Our success is based on a century-old tradition.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. The plat will create an infill project within the developed area of the city, which has been underutilized for many years, owned by a church to allow for future expansion that the church was no longer considering. The project will create 24 new homes, which will provide increased tax-based revenue for the city. The final plat includes a final description, property lines, dimensions, date, joining subdivisions, deed of dedications, engineer certificate of survey, right-of-way widths, proper lot sequence, and contract and waiver. Originally, easements were shown on the plat. However, only one of the easements was marked indicating use and dimensions. They will need to remove the setback lines on the plat. However, they could choose to add a building line along the street frontage. Zoning notes information would need to be removed. However, the above-mentioned items have been addressed, and the engineer has signed off the plat, so it can be forwarded to City Council. Therefore, staff recommends the request for the final plat of Lincolnshire Edition be approved for the following reasons. The request will not appear to have a negative impact surrounding the area. The request will not appear to have a negative impact on pedestrian traffic conditions in the surrounding area. The request will create new infill lots and develop part of the city. The request will put 3 acres of land and subsequent homes on the tax rolls.
Okay. Do we have any questions for staff?
This is Do Not. Just a point of interest, what church is in the area?
Cedar Valley Community Church.
Okay, thank you.
Any others?
This is Lystico. This part of this plat, since it has no structure on it, is it being used as informal part of Olympic Park?
No.
The land, this is Anderson with staff, the land was actually purchased from the church. So previously it was part of the church's. I believe there is some playground equipment that will be relocated or discontinued as part of the development, which is an agreement with the church sale to them.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for staff? Okay, is there anybody online or in the audience that would like to make comments either for or against this? Please give us your name and address and keep your comments as brief as possible. Thank you.
This program encourages you.
Who is that?
Okay, seeing none, we'll entertain a motion.
This is Lystico, all motion.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That's carried. Thank you very much. Move on to the next item on the agenda, vacates. Request by Personified Incorporated to vacate approximately 12,880 square feet of Bluff Street right-of-way located adjacent to 326 West 17th Street. Staff report?
This is Dornoff again with staff report. The request to vacate Bluff Street would not appear to have a negative impact on the neighborhood, as the area is largely commercial and designation businesses in the area. Street is not needed for public street purposes. The request would not appear to have a negative impact on vehicular traffic in the area, as the street is a dead-end street, with the applicant being the only business located in the vacate area. There is no sidewalks in the area along the vacate area. The vacate area was cut off from US Highway 218 by a trail and the Iowa Northern Railroad tracks, and chain link fence blocks access to the highway. The US 218 trail is located across the Iowa Northern Railroad tracks from the vacate areas, but is divided by a chain link fence. The site is zoned M1 Light Industrial District and has been zoned as such since the adoption of zoning ordinance in 1969. To the north is commercial and a church zoned M1 Industrial District. To the south, commercial zoned M1 Industrial District. To the east, commercial zoned M1 Industrial District. And to the west, the Iowa Northern Railroad and US Highway 218. Commercial businesses in the area were developed between 1948 and 1996, with the church being built in 1995. There are known utilities located in Bluff Street. Waterworks has water in 17th Street, but not in Bluff. The request to vacate Bluff Street would not appear to have a negative impact on the area traffic conditions. The role of Bluff Street was greatly diminished with the construction of US Highway 218 as an expressway in the 1990s. All buildings on the west side bluffs were demolished and a few buildings remaining on the east side of the street. Several sections of streets have already been vacated. The northern part of Bluff Street, 216th, was vacated in two sections by ordinance 3977 on October 11th, 1993, and ordinance 4151 on February 5th, 1996. A portion of Bluff Street south of 17th to 18th Street was vacated by ordinance 4298 on May 26, 1998. The request originally was recommended for approval by Planning, Programming, and Zoning Commission on November 14th, 2017, but was put on hold at the request of the applicant and never went to City Council. Therefore, because it's been over 1 year, it does need to return to Planning and Zoning for recommendation again. During tech review, Waterworks just wanted to ensure that 17th Street would not be affected by the vacate area, since there is a hydrant at the end of 17th Street, to which staff responded there is no portion of 17th being vacated. Therefore, staff recommends the request to vacate 12,880 square feet of Bluff Street be approved for the following reasons. The request to vacate would not appear to have a negative impact on surrounding area. The request to vacate would not appear to have a negative impact on vehicular or pedestrian traffic in the area. The street has been rendered surplus due to US 218 project and subsequent vacations, and the condition can be removed because the legal description has been corrected.
Okay, do we have any questions for staff? Okay, if not, is there anybody, is the applicant here, and would the applicant like to either online or in person make a presentation to us? Okay, seeing no one, is there anybody in the audience who would like to speak either for or against this issue, either in person or online? Hearing no one, there's no further discussion amongst commissioners. We'll entertain a motion.
So moved. Schoberg?
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second.
Sounds like we have 2 seconds. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, our next item is discussion items.
Eric, anything?
Do we have it?
This is Anderson with staff. Staff does not have any discussion items.
Okay, sounds good. We'll entertain a motion for adjournment. Just a reminder, our next meeting is August 4th.
So moved to adjourn.
Second, Leistikow.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Anybody opposed? Thank you all. We'll see you next month.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stay safe.